Hello Electroheads! Today we are talking about my favourite subject, which is cheap electric cars. Because electric cars are good, but having no money is bad. Unfortunately, the world's English-speaking countries aren't exactly blessed when it comes to cheap electric cars. In China, you can pick up a Tesla Model 3 copycat for about £8.50, whereas in Australia, the UK, the US, Canada, you're looking at the cost of a deposit on a house just to buy an electric car. But fear not, friends, because electric car prices are slowly, very slowly, coming down. Or let me word that another way. Car manufacturers are starting to move on from just building the £60,000 electric SUVs that they've been doing for the last few years and are starting to focus more on the lower end of the market. And that's good news for everybody. So let's take a look, shall we? Some of these cars are coming out this year, some of them are coming out next year, some are actually pretty much available right now. But one thing's for certain, this is a good video to watch if you like having nice things and you also like having some money left over afterwards. Let's crack on. We're starting off with a car that is further away from reality than some others on this list, the VW ID.2. In June 2024, VW announced a concept car called the ID.2all, which did make it sound a bit like a football result. Another potential name put forward was the VW ID Desmond, but that was also rejected by VW bigwigs. Now fast forward to the year of our Lord 2025, and VW have announced that the ID.2all will become a real-life car, as the VW ID.2. They say it will be as spacious as a Golf, a car not really known for being that spacious, but as inexpensive as a VW Polo, and that's the exciting part. I felt like the ID.3 was a little bit of a swing and a miss from VW, a car that promised so much but in reality delivered very little, and it was soon overshadowed by a deluge of electric cars from VW's rivals. But the ID.2 already looks a bit more like a classic hatchback, hinting that this could be a better handling and driving car than the ID.3 and at a lower price point. VW's design chief Andreas Mint said of the ID.2, and I quote, "It's more upright, more self-confident. It's matching 100% to our brand values. It will be stable and likeable, and with our secret sauce, but in a different way." Safe to say that Andreas has given absolutely nothing away at all there with that incredibly cryptic description, but if you like your cars like you like your romantic partners, stable and likeable, then you're in luck. One thing we do know is that it should have an on-the-road price of around £20,000, which would make it very affordable, caveat, in the realm of small electric cars. So we think there will be a 200-mile range option around £20,000 and then a higher range option around 280 miles at £25,000. Now, the bad news is that this won't be coming until next year. The good news for you, and not necessarily for VW, is that all of this has basically already been achieved in the form of the Renault 5, which is an incredibly cool car and is available right now, so go and check that out if you're interested. I'm now moving on from an electric car that's not even out yet to one that I've already test driven and actually really quite liked, the Leapmotor T03. This little Chinese hatchback cost around £10,000 in China, and now it's coming to the UK. This car has had to have a little bit of a rejig for the European market, and subsequently it is being sold for £16,000 here, but for a 4-seater EV with a 160-mile range, that's still not too bad. Now, does it have any particularly exciting features? No. Is it good to drive? Not really. And is it styled particularly well? Not at all. But it is exciting, and here's why. In about 3 or 4 years' time, there could be a really affordable second-hand market for these little critters on the likes of Auto Trader, eBay, Facebook Marketplace, that bloke Clive who lives down the road, wherever you get your second-hand cars. And that's really good news for anybody who just wants a cheap electric car that will get them from A to B, as long as B isn't more than 100 miles away from A. This is a direct rival to the Dacia Spring Electric, a car that stole my heart and actually helped launch this channel when I first made a video about it many moons ago. And the Leapmotor T03 represents more choice in the sub £20,000 bracket in the EV market, which is only a good thing. And look, this car isn't terrible. It's got 95 horsepower. It will get from 0 to 60 in about 12 seconds. It has a panoramic sunroof and a 10-inch touchscreen. It's simple, but it is a Ford Fiesta for the electric generation. Does it look like it's been designed by and for grannies? Well, actually, yes, it kind of does. But this is a seriously good city runaround, and it's also capable of doing countryside and motorway journeys as well, as long as they're fairly short. And look, I've cheated by putting it in this video because it's not coming out soon, it's already available, I've driven it, I've made a video about it, which you can watch here or up here or somewhere by clicking the link, as long as we actually remember to put the link into the video, which I hope we do. If not, just Google or YouTube search Electroheads Leap Motor T03 and you'll see my face, I'm sorry. And look, before we move on to the next video, I just want to say a quick note. If you're enjoying this video, if you're liking what you're seeing, you're liking what you're hearing, please subscribe to the channel and then like this video, and feel free to leave a comment, ask me anything you want about cheap electric cars, about my views on M&Ms as a chocolate, quite like them, some good variations. Ask me anything you want, I will answer, but please subscribe to the channel because it helps us grow and it helps more people like you, attractive, legendary people like you, find the channel. Now we move from China to France, a country that is massively famous for its food, but somehow still isn't as good at making it as its neighbour, Italy. Guys, that's a joke. French people, just a joke. I'm British, I don't get to have opinions on food, okay? Let's move on. So look, France's historic car maker, Renault, has announced an all-new electric Renault Twingo that's coming soon, and it's gonna cost under £17,000. That's really, really exciting. I think it's kind of styled and designed based on the original Renault Twingo, which I didn't love back in the day, but over time has grown on me, and I now think it's one of the coolest cars ever made. So I'm very excited about this new electric Renault Twingo, and Renault have done an amazing job restyling the Renault 5 for the electric generation. It's fun, it's bubbly, it's retro, and it's got a bit of the kind of Honda E about it, which is a massive compliment because that is still the best looking car that's ever been designed or made, in my humble opinion. The horizontal touchscreen is well sized at 10 inches, and there's also a 7-inch driver's display behind the steering wheel. Though range figures haven't been confirmed yet, Renault have told us that the car will be able to achieve 6.2 miles per kilowatt hour, which we think will give it a range of about 150 to 200 miles. So this is a city car that has extremely funky and playful styling, that has a range that's capable of day trips as well, and all for under £17,000. That's a massive step forward from 2020 when the Honda E was out and would have cost you over £35,000 for a similar sort of thing. The only downside is that this little rascal won't be released until 2026, but look, I'm willing to wait. Now we go from France back to China, really racking up the air miles here and being very inefficient, with a bit of Britishness sprinkled in. Ever since SAIC Motor Group, the Chinese brand, acquired MG, they've had a string of hits in the European market by breathing new life into the legendary British brand. The MG5 has been an incredibly popular car, that's their electric estate, and their SUV, the MG4, has also been very popular, but they've also proven that they can have fun with the MG Cyberster, which I test rode with my colleague Ailish recently and had an absolute blast doing so. You can check that video out here, some of you know. You know the drill. But in this game, sensible's where the money's at. Actually not, it's in luxury SUVs, but never mind. Sensible is exactly what MG are going for with the MG2. This looks like a direct rival to the VW ID2. They're taking on VW at their own game, they're looking to get it out before VW, and it's going to come in for a similar price of around £20,000. Very little is actually known about this car at the moment, which is a surprise given that it's about to be released in the second half of 2025. But stylistically, we're told that it will look a lot like the MG3, a hybrid car that's already been produced by MG, and that it will have an electric range of around 200 miles. Having driven a few MGs, my only criticism is that the infotainment system and tech is slightly behind rivals such as VW, Tesla, and the likes of BMW Mini. It makes a lot of annoying noises, and even just small things like the indicator sound is like a bit clicky and I don't know, a bit tacky. But if you're not super interested in having the most up-to-date tech or the latest touchscreen, then the MG2 could be a real bargain. And finally, speaking of reinvented brands, we now go to Korea, where Kia have been absolutely changing the game when it comes to electric cars in the past few years. They've had huge success with the likes of the Kia EV6 and the EV9, and the humble e-Niro is still doing the numbers here in the UK and in Europe. But soon there will be an even cheaper all-electric Kia than the e-Niro or even the EV3. A car has been spotted in testing that many people think, including myself, is the EV2. And from knowing what I know about how many cars Kia are releasing this year, then it should be coming out in the second half of this year. Could you tell, by the way, that the way I said cars, in my head it had a K in it, because I got confused with the word Kia? Is that interesting? I don't know. Let's move on. Despite being part of Kia's EV title series, it looks to be drawing design inspiration not just from the likes of the EV3 and the EV6, but also from the Kia Soul, which I think is a massively overlooked car. It's a beautifully designed car that looks a little bit like a shoebox on wheels, but I happen to like that sort of thing. We know that this will be a £25,000 car, making it at least £5,000 cheaper than the EV3, and I do think that means it pretty much has to have around a 250 mile or more claimed range. Anything less would be a little bit disappointing. So look, we might not be as lucky here in Europe as drivers in China when it comes to EV prices. We can't buy a Wuling Hongguang Mini for $4,000, but the market is getting much better. There's a wider choice of electric cars and more are coming out in the sub 25,000, sub 20,000 bracket, and that's a good thing for consumers. By 2030, it's completely feasible that there could be a wide range of options available in the sub £15,000 category, and even better, the second-hand market could be looking really good at that point. And battery life cycles look a lot better than the EV harbingers of doom said that they would be a few years ago. Funny how those people are always wrong. Anyway, there is cause for hope in the EV market, my friends. If you've spotted any cool new electric cars recently, online or otherwise, please let me know. I love wild and weird electric cars, especially if they're on the cheap side. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, please leave a comment letting me know, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. But more importantly than that, have a nice day, because you deserve that. Thanks for watching.